This is Joe Robbie Stadium, where we have a crowd of 62,000, and we have the Patriots and the Dolphins, teams with a tremendous contrast in style. A look at the AFC playoff picture shows that the playoffs started now. Both wild cards would come out of the AFC Central, Houston and Cleveland. But the Patriots can go to 7-5 with a win tonight. Then there's a tremendous logjam at 6-6. A group Miami could join if they can win tonight. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick along with Joe Theismann, and it's great to have you with us on ESPN. Doug Flutie says he's a little bit embarrassed by all the publicity he is getting as the Patriots quarterback, as well as all the talk about his size. But embarrassed or not, he has given his team a big lift.
He really has. He's become their inspirational leader. And if you're going to give somebody some publicity, why not be the guy that's used to it? It takes a lot of pressure off his teammates. Doug Flutie has provided all those things that a quarterback should. Charisma. They don't focus on the running game as much, and they should, because they have a great running back in John Stevens. Now, here's a guy who has rushed for 300-yard games. Last time against Miami, rushed for 104 yards. And I'll guarantee you tonight, he's going to see a load of the running game.
Dan Marino in 1988 has been a different Dan Marino. He's human.
Well, you're right, Mike. And the thing about Dan Marino is when you talk to him, he's not a happy camper. He's a football player right now who really has an internal struggle going on. It's the first time in his career. Tonight will actually be the second time in his career he will have started a game with fewer touchdown passes than interceptions. He has 16 touchdown passes, 17 interceptions. That goes all the way back to 1985 in the second game of the season. He's not facing an opponent tonight in the New England Patriots. Dan Marino is facing a Dan Marino opponent, and he's got a real mental struggle, and he's got to play tough to get through it.
The Dolphins will kick off, and Tony Franklin, the former New England Patriot, will do the honors. Elgin Davis and Sammy Martin. Davis out of Central Florida, Sammy Martin, 82, the rookie out of LSU, are deep to receive. And as we showed you the playoff update picture, the Dolphins are not out of it. As Don Shula said, we're alive, but just mathematically. Tonight will tell the story. The Patriots are very much in it. Sammy Martin at the 3. Out to the 29-yard line. Doug Flutie making his 7th straight start as the Patriots quarterback. His statistics aren't much, but the Pats are winning with him in there. The key to the offense is John Stevens. Since they committed to him in the ground game, the rookie has been sensational. The offensive line has been dominating the last few weeks. Bruce Armstrong, in only his second year, has become the leader of this ball club up front. Rodney Thomas is the injured player, another rookie for the Dolphins. We're just looking around the league today, a lot of players getting banged up. Of course, it's that time of the year. Everybody's beat up. One more hit is liable to put you out for a couple of games.
This is the toughest time of year for coaches, because now is when you have to make your playoff drive, and now is when you start to lose key people. You get a little bit worn, a little bit tired.
Raymond Berry in his 5th year with New England, 43-28 his overall record. In my mind, the best hands of any receiver that ever played this game, and he played under Don Shula when Shula was coaching in Baltimore.
Well, the thing about it, you look at how he has basically owned the Dolphins ever since he took over as head coach in New England. He's 7-1. Of course, Coach Shula's record speaks for itself, a 70% winning record. The thing that's so great about Don Shula is his ability to win differently. He wins with a running game. He wins with a passing game. He's taken teams to Super Bowls in both ways. There you see the injury somewhere in that pile.
And we'll check on the condition of the injury 10 seconds into the ball game when we come back. Your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By MCI. Let us show you how much better a long-distance company can be. And by Atra Plus. Gillette made it smoother. Rodney Thomas, the injured player from Miami, the rookie out of Brigham Young, being taken off the field. And, of course, all the NFL stadiums have X-ray facilities. And let's see what happens.
There you see watch his right knee get buckled as he gets hit. See that right knee, how it gets bent back?
Flutie back to throw. Sideline complete. A gain of about 9 yards, and he hits Stanley Morgan. The Miami defensive line was hurt by the season-ending injury to John Boza. T.J. Turner was taken over as their leading sacker. Yeah, they have a good group of linebackers. John Offerdahl is the best. He's been their best defensive player since he was a rookie. The secondary has been a problem for years. Rookie free safety Jarvis Williams has been a welcome addition to that group. Gain of 9, 2nd and 1. Stevens and Perriman, the running backs in the arm. Stevens. Across the 40-yard line. Brian Sauché, the nose tackle, made the stop.
Now, it looks like the New England Patriots are sending a message. Yes, we've run the football a lot against you. Yes, we ran the ball 40-some times last time. Let's come out and open up with a passing game. It could be just to try and upset what the Miami Dolphins are going to do defensively, but I got to believe that that's the first of many runs we're going to see tonight from the Patriots.
Stevens has just had tremendous success. Gained 124 yards against Buffalo, 134 against the Bears. You just don't do that against those defenses, except Stevens has done it. Moody to throw again on first down. This time over the middle, he's got his tight end Russ Crampton out near the 45-yard line, thrown back by John Offerdahl, number 56. First down's a good time to throw.
It really is. And first down, I believe, is the only time that you really have the defense at a disadvantage because they don't know whether you're going to run or pass. You get into 2nd down and 8, you're almost obligated to run a draw, a screen, or throw the ball. 3rd downs, you know what happens there. So first down's a great time to pass.
2nd and 5. Stevens. Here come the Dolphins. They swarm on him after a gain of about 3. Keep an eye on Stevens. He has a very straight-up running style, and he can really take some shots. William Judson and Mark Brown, who's playing hurt, were in on the stop.
You know, it's interesting. He takes film home of Eric Dickerson and studies his running style. Now, if you're going to study a running back, if you are a running back and you're going to study one guy, I would say that he's picked a pretty good guy and style to study in Eric Dickerson.
3rd down, 4 yards to go. Perriman to the 50. Stopped about a yard shy of the first down. Offerdahl is in there again along with Mark Brown, who was the first man to hit him. Perriman has also given them some pretty decent games, averaging over 3 yards a carry.
This is really where I think we're going to see a comparison in athletes tonight. You got some unbelievable punters. Fiegels is he was brought in because of his hang time, and we all know what Reggie Roby can do, hanging the football up. If it doesn't rain tonight, it won't be because these two kickers haven't tried to bring it down. I got to tell you.
It's cloud seeding with footballs. Jarvis Williams and Scott Schwade's 81, the deep men. Dolphins put on some pressure. Schwade's fair catch, 17-yard line. 33-yard punt and no return. Dan Marino, the Dolphins quarterback, having an un-Marino-like year. 16 touchdown passes, 17 interceptions. But with virtually no running game, the burden falls on the passing. Mark Clayton, 2nd in the conference in catches and yardage. The Dolphins have not allowed a sack in 7 straight games. Harry Galbraith, the rookie right guard, has been a pleasant surprise. But as much as that offensive line, it's Marino's tremendous release and his desire not to give up the sack that is credited to that statistic. Lorenzo Hampton, the setback. Hampton out of the backfield, and Marino hits him. Lepet drags him down at the 23-yard line. Rembert was also out there. Take a look at that New England defense. Without Garen Barris and Kenneth Sims, the line is doing it with mirrors. Brent Williams leads them with 5 sacks. At linebacker, Johnny Rembert waited for 6 years to become a starter. He's already a leader and getting better every week. The secondary has been together as a unit for 4 years. They're excellent. Watch Ronnie Lepet. He and Mark Clayton have exchanged words, and they want a little more of each other before this one's over.
Exchange words? That's a nice way of putting it, I think.
Well, I think it'll heat up during the game.
I guarantee it will.
Hampton and Bennett are the backs on 2nd and 3. Jensen in motion. Hampton on the sweep. Not much more than the line of scrimmage, and Johnny Rembert was the first one there. Fred Marion came up to help him. Rembert, in the offseason, knowing he was going to start because Steve Nelson was giving up the game, worked out harder than he's ever worked out, lost 10 pounds. He's quicker, he's stronger, and he's just been a monster for him.
Well, it's a classic case of a guy making a mental decision that I am now going to have a chance to play. I am now going to dedicate myself to become a better football player. And that's really what he's become. He was a 4th-round draft choice in '83 out of Clemson. He's an excellent pass cover also.
Last time they played Miami, he was the AFC Defensive Player of the Week with 18 tackles. Clayton Duper, the wideout. Boy Stratford, for the first time, they go for it on the ground, and they don't get it. And Miami's inability to run the football hurts them early.
Well, that time the defensive line got penetration out into the back. Whenever you're running backs across the backfield, your offensive line has got to stop the penetration, or else the guards don't get out in front. On that particular play, they got penetration into the backfield, and they wind up with a loss. Don
Shula has a quandary. He says you want to establish the run, but when you're running like we are, you give it up in a hurry. Reggie Roby, the punt to Irving Pryor, who is number 2 in the conference in returns, averaging 11.5 yards a kick. Loose ball. You don't get many good returns when Roby hangs them up like that. Thompson was down on the coverage.
There you see Thompson. Pryor makes the catch. Thompson just times it perfectly. Well, if you can't block the guy coming down covering kicks, you may as well be around to pick up the fumble, so that's probably the best thing you can do. That's some heads-up ball. Just stay right around the football. If it bounces up, hopefully it'll be in your hands. And we'll be right back.
New England takes over at its own 15-yard line, and on first down so far, Flutie's come out throwing the ball, Joe.
Oh, yeah, and I think that's just to try and upset what the Dolphins have probably geared themselves for, but you know, you're backed up deep in your end. When you talk to Coach Olivedade, defensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins, he says somewhere in the first 2 series, New England loves to come out and try and test you deep. If they can get a good one, that's great. But they'll settle back down into what they do best, and that's run the football.
Got a couple of excellent receivers out there. It's Tony Eason, who is now ready as the backup quarterback. Suffered through some injuries the last 2 years.
Had trouble with his AC joint, which is in the shoulder, and the wrap that they put on put pressure on a nerve in his elbow, which has caused a lack of strength in his thumb, and it's really, he's back to about 85% right now.
No pass this time. Stevens, nice cut. Barrels his way out to the 30-yard line. Jarvis Williams had to come up to make the tackle. How about that punt by Reggie Roby? Almost caused a big turnover. Can he kill it or what?
Well, what happens is you'll see the hang time on this punt. The release at the lower part of the screen is on Renee Thompson. Now, the ball is up in the air so much, he just has an opportunity to outrun the people that are trying to block him. And when he gets down there, Jim Bowman has to try and make the recovery. He will. And like I said, if you're around the pile, if you can't block the guy, at least help out if the guy fumbles.
Stevens and Perriman split this time. Perriman behind Stevens, who got a good block on Offerdahl. After about the 34-yard line, Mark Brown, number 51, and Hugh Green, 55 in there.
Tackled by T.J. Turner and number 51, Mark Brown.
Really changed their personality, Joe. The first 6 games, they ran it less than half the time. Now they run it almost all the time.
Well, if they can, you know, they want to run it 74%. 100 yards rushing they average. They average 22 points running the football and 4 win. You can't argue with numbers like that. When you look at this football game, you got to say, what are the Patriots going to do? And, you know, they're going to run the ball 3/4 of the time.
Especially against Miami, a team that's 23rd in the league against the run. Stevens, Sauché wrapped them up in a hurry that time. Gain of maybe half a yard.
And Sauché's going to have a big night if they want to shut down that New England running attack. The key to the 3-4 defense is the job that the nose tackle can do in the interior, and that's basically where New England likes to run. Stevens is not a fast guy. He's not going to outrun anybody. He'll just pound you. He'll play smash face with you all night. Just smash his face right into yours.
It's a 3rd and 3. New England at its own 36. Morgan and Pryor come to the near side. Flutie tries to drop it off, and Hugh Green got a hand up and knocked it down. Now, one of Doug Flutie's pet peeves is when he gets a pass knocked down. He says every announcer says he's too short.
He's not.
He is not too short. I'm on notice. We're exceptions. All right?
We're not. This is just a great play by Hugh Green. He's looking at Doug Flutie. He lays off the blocker a little bit and then just jumps up in the air. It's Danny Villa trying to block him, and he just sees what Flutie's going to do and swats it down. It's a good defensive play.
Fiegel's out of Miami, goes back to punt. Schwade's single safety waiting at his 21. Good kick returner. Excellent hands. Had a little trouble at times last year. Fiegel's hangs one up this time, and Schwade signals for a catch. Makes it at his own 28-yard line. 7:16 to go. First quarter, we're scoreless.
Tournament.
So those NIT semifinals coming up. It's hoop season. That means Dick Vitale is a happy man.
Oh, boy. Now his motor is running, I guarantee it. Dick's got that motor wound up and ready to roll.
Davenport and Hampton, the Dolphin running backs, behind Marino. Hampton drags the tackler with him to the 35-yard line. Nice effort by Lorenzo Hampton. Johnny Rembert made the stop.
With the Dolphins being able to come out and get that many yards on 7 yards on 1st and 10, it's going to put the game in Marino's hands. Now he really has it down here where he can throw the ball or he can try and run it. This was a time when I would say put the ball up in the air. You always can go at it on 3rd and 3.
Stratford is in at a running back, and he'll get the call. Made 2 guys miss and has the first down. Now keep in mind, this is a team that's the worst in the National Football League running the football. 69 yards a game.
But you still have to do it, Mike. I mean, even though no matter what the numbers say, you still have to do it. Marino drops back into this is like a little over-the-top lead draw, and Stratford really just makes a great move on the outside and beats Larry McGrew, picks up the first down.
Really hasn't been healthy all year. Had a fine year for them out of Boston College last year. Averaged almost 4.5 yards a carry. Hampton is back in. Delay to Hampton. Grabbed by Tim Goad, the nose man, and Lawrence McGrew came up to help finish him off. Another thing this does, keep their defense off the field and does not allow New England to go out and, as you so eloquently put it, play smash face with them.
That's right. They just want to run it down their throats. When you talk to Coach Berry, say, what's the most important thing in trying to keep, win this ballgame? He says, keep number 13 on the bench. And with Marino out there and them running the football, it doesn't bode well for the New England Patriots.
2nd and 8. Marino unloads, caught by Duper. Bobbled it, but got to the 48, very close to another first down. Raymond Claiborne with him stride for stride.
New England does not want to give up the big pass. So those corners and those safeties sit back, which means that Marino's going to have to take the underneath crossing patterns. Here he just fires it to Duper. Now, he lets the ball get to his body. And that's the problem with that pass. You got to take it right in the hands and bring it into your body. You can't let it get to your body. It acts like a backboard when a basketball hits it. You just don't know where it's going to go.
With all the passing the Dolphins are doing, Duper is still not having that incredible year. He's only caught 38 balls, and both of their wide receivers have had trouble at times dropping the ball.
And the guy that they've talked about that says has to get into this game plan, and the games that they've won and performed well in offensively, has been Mark Duper. If they get the ball in him, he gets involved in the game. The Dolphins have had success offensively.
3rd and inches, and they'll go with 2 tight ends, both rookies. Farrell Edmonds, number 80, and number 88, Brian Kinchen. Hampton dives, and he has it near the New England 45-yard line.
In this age of specialization, Hampton on 3rd and short is now 8 of 10. So if they get into a short yardage situations, you got to figure percentages. Is that Hampton's going to get the first down for you?
How about Jensen on 3rd down? He's usually the guy who's the magic man.
He's incredible. He plays everywhere. He said he gave up playing quarterback a long time ago. Now he just concentrates on surviving. That's the most important. I mean, here's a guy, you know, last time they played 12 first downs on third down. He comes out of the backfield. He plays wide receiver. In the Monday night game, he jumped up and played quarterback, ran an option play, which was supposed to be a pass to Dan Marino. You know, I mean, if there is a versatility award, this guy gets it, going away.
One of the most popular players, and that's Ed Reynolds out of Virginia. Free agent they signed in 1983. A little shaken up. He'll leave the field. Looks to be fine.
He's also their signal caller, so that hurts the defense a little bit. There he comes. You see Davenport come in. You see Reynolds in a collision. And then Hampton pulls the old alley-oop.
And Vincent Brown, rookie out of Mississippi Valley State, will come in for him. Brown, tremendous physical specimen, 6'2", 245 as they attend to Reynolds on the side.
That's like going into the pits for a tire change. That's it.
That's it. Jensen will shift to the near side. Hampton, the lone setback. Duper got an early start. There's a flag down. Farrell Edmonds makes the catch. He is a load. Down to the 25. He won't go down. But the whistle had blown. Farrell Edmonds is 6'6", 248. He can run, he can catch, and he can block. And Duper got the quick start and negates the big play.
Well, you know, that time he went off when the starter said, take your mark. He was gone. He didn't wait for the gun on that one. So number 85 got out of the chute a little quick and negated a big play, which has really been the demise of the Dolphin offense. It isn't that they haven't moved the ball down the field. It's that everything they've done positively has been called back uncharacteristically on a Dolphin team.
Illegal motion. 85, 5 yards, and still first down.
Mark Duper.
Right there is Duper. Now he's just going to take off before everybody else does. You can't do that. Not especially when the guy is straddling the line looking at you. There he is coming out of the chute a little bit early.
So now it's 1st and 15 for the Dolphins instead of being at the Patriots' 25-yard line. Stratford and Bennett team up in the backfield. Marino with that great release got it to Stratford, and Rembert was right on top of him to the 45-yard line.
I'm amazed just watching Dan Marino throw the football.
It's great, isn't it?
He just absolutely, he loads, sets, and fires, and he's been with these receivers long enough that they just anticipate. Watch this. He's got the ball up in a great throwing area. He sets that back foot, and boom, you can barely see it. I mean, the guy is just really something else. You were right when you said before, they got to build a little wing over there, the Marino wing in the Hall of Fame.
Just a list of records, let alone for pictures and tapes. He has not done well against the Patriots, however. Tippett on the blitz on 2nd and 8. Clayton going to the sideline, gets out of bounds. And he was being chased by Ronnie Lepet, and those two will hook up a couple of times tonight.
Well, there's no love lost between the two of them. There you see up top. Now, Clayton's just coming across. As we talked about, they're going to try and run underneath the zone. He just fills into the hole and just runs across the field. That time he wasn't locked up on Lepet face-to-face like they'd like to be. This goes all the way back to college. These two players do not like one another. I mean, there's no two ways to put it. Clayton said that, you know, he doesn't want to be a friend. And that's the way it is.
Well, I don't think bosom buddies is in their future. Stratford on the delay. Dives inside to the 27-yard line. Told you a little bit about Clayton and Lepet going after each other. We asked Clayton, what do you really think of Ronnie Lepet?
Yeah, this is a love-hate relationship. If you're standing around the pile, he'd take his shot at you, and it just stems from a few different things. If he gets his shot, you know, I hope he takes it, because if I get mine, I'm going to take mine.
Ronnie Lepet has not responded nearly as strongly as Mark Clayton has laid it out there. Hampton to the 19-yard line, first down, and the Dolphins are doing it very well on the ground. Well, you think those comments a little strong. How about 2 weeks ago? He said, I want to beat him so bad the Patriots think about cutting him. I want to use him like toilet paper. I hate him.
Yeah, well, that's pretty explicit.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, there's a guy who, I guess, you know, he doesn't necessarily hide his emotions too much, does he?
And really, Lepet in that game a couple of weeks ago did not really respond on the field, but his teammates did a lot of jawing at Clayton. First down, Dolphins. Davenport. Big hole. Fights it down to the 10. Only a yard shy of a first down. And this has got to fire up the offensive line. They're doing the job.
That's the point I think that's a great point, Mike, because you got Edmonds up there, Lee, Galbraith, Dellenbach, Foster, and in for Giesler is Mark Dennis, the left tackle. And they're just opening some really big holes. There you see Harry Galbraith come over and make that big hole. And, you know, you got a guy 6'1", 275. There they are. This is like the old counter trey the Redskins run. They bring the right tackle and right guard over and lead the way.
Ed Reynolds is back in the ballgame. We're told he has a thigh bruise. 2nd and a yard. Hampton. Not this time. Tippett came from the backside and planted him at the line of scrimmage.
Coming from your left side, Andre Tippett is down in the defensive end position, and he just comes straight across the line. When you got a guy with that much talent and that much speed, you should assign somebody to block him, or else you're not going to gain a lot of yards.
They'll let the clock wind down. It is a 3rd and 1 for Miami at the New England 10-yard line. We've had a scoreless first quarter. You're watching the Patriots and the Dolphins on ESPN. Ready to start the second quarter. New England and Miami are scoreless, but the Dolphins are driving. We remind you of next week, the Giants and the Saints. Big game for both ball clubs, 8 o'clock Eastern. Joe and I and Roy Firestone will be along at halftime. The Giants have Lawrence Taylor and maybe Phil Simms. He was hurt today. Ricky Jackson and Bobby Hebert lead the Saints. 3rd and short from the 10. Jensen in motion. Marino tried to hit Farrell Edmonds, and it's incomplete. 3 Patriots back there on pass coverage.
You know, I just don't understand that. I really don't. They've been running the ball well. They get down there in the 3rd and 1 situation, and then they try and pass it. Now, Edmonds is a big target, but they don't fool the Patriots. The Patriots are anticipating that the Dolphins are going to try and throw the football in every situation. I think they might have been better off in that instance. Of course, it's always easier to second guess, to try and hammer it up in, because it'll give that young line some confidence.
Tony Franklin will try the field goal. He's been kicking since Fuad Reveiz was injured, and he puts the Miami Dolphins on top 3-0. We'll be back in Miami after this. 86 AFC Championship game. New England hadn't won in the Orange Bowl for 18 years, but the bounces finally went the Patriots' way. And quarterback Tony Eason had one of his biggest days, connecting here with Tony Collins on one of 3 touchdown passes. The Patriots got the win, and Raymond Berry got the victory ride as New England earned its first Super Bowl berth. Second quarter, 14:52. Miami leading at 3-0 after a 27-yard field goal. That last drive, 8 runs and 4 passes. What's going on in Miami?
Well, not only that, it's 47 yards rushing, 29 yards passing. I mean, which team are we talking about?
Elgin Davis and Sammy Martin are deep. This is Martin at the 5. Only got it back to the 18-yard line. Last drive was very impressive by the Dolphins because it took 7 minutes and 24 seconds off the clock. A very un-Dolphin-like drive. And Tony Franklin finished it off. And Marino's got to be so happy that running game is able to get him some yardage and take some of the pressure off.
The running game is the ultimate friend of a quarterback. And this is why Doug Flutie, I think, has enjoyed so much success in New England these last 5 games, because he's had a running game around him. Marino had a chance now to enjoy some of it. Stevens. Got
got enough speed to get outside. Chased down by Mark Brown. Interesting how Stevens got his chance. Bruce Armstrong, a second-year offensive lineman, went to Raymond Berry to lobby for Stevens. And since he did that, they've won 5 of 7 games. And Armstrong, it's unusual only in his second year that he commands that much respect, that the other players look to him and that he can go talk to a coach. And credit to Raymond Berry that he would sit there and listen to a second-year player and accept the suggestion.
Well, Raymond Berry, he has really brought the game down to the player's level. I mean, there's no office. The man is just, it's like one of the guys.
Flutie on the roll, and he hits Russ Francis. Francis out to the 44-yard line. First down. Jarvis Williams made the tackle. 22-yard gain.
On the play previous to this, Flutie does a little fake here, and this end does not contain. This time he makes the fake, comes on out. Russ Francis drags across the formation and is in the hole between the linebackers. See the linebackers take that step to the right with the running back. Now Flutie just sets and moves around. What New England is doing is they are just moving the pocket for Doug Flutie.
Stevens. Brown forced him outside. Look at all the green jerseys chasing to the sideline. He gets to midfield. Raymond Berry also did something very interesting for New England this year. He did not name a defensive coordinator. He has 3 coaches who served as a committee of defensive coordinators.
Well, he figured if he's got Eddie Kayat, Don Shinnick, and Jimmy Carr, Gummy Carr, they call him, he's got Coach Carr up in the box and the other 2 guys downstairs. He said, you've got 3 guys who really understand the game. Let them decide how it should be done, who's going to call it. Coach Carr is upstairs, Coach Kayat and Coach Shinnick are down on the field. And it truly is defensive by committee.
And it's worked. 2nd and 5. Flutie pump faked and then throws and got it to Perriman. Perriman at the 45-yard line. Excuse me, Cedric Jones out of Duke.
I think that's the toughest thing for a quarterback to do, is to start to throw, cock it and reload and let it fire again. And there you saw the quickness of Doug Flutie. We talk about the quickness of the release of Dan Marino. Flutie doesn't have that quickness, but he has the ability to adjust in midstream.
And that is a pass play he would rather be in, a pocket pass. He doesn't like to roll out. He says it cuts down the field for him.
I don't believe it. I think he just says that because he wants everybody to think he's tall and can stay there.
Straight back again, plenty of time. Now he scrambles. Got out of bounds at the 37-yard line. T.J. Turner and Rick Graff were chasing him over there. Well, we did it last week. Let's do it again. Joe still contends he's 6 feet tall, and Flutie's 5'10".
I think he is. You know, my hair's poofed up a little, and his is poofed up a little. So if you take the poofs out of it, I think you got a guy. I'd say Doug Flutie is over 5'10".
Are you wearing those conquistador boots again?
Well, I'm on my bad leg, which is shorter. So, yeah, I think, you know, everybody says how tall is Doug Flutie. Who cares how tall Doug Flutie is, to be honest with you? I mean, he's moving his team down the field. He's won 4 out of 5 football games. That's the only thing that matters.
You're right. It's the only thing that counts at all. Got the Pats moving now. 2nd and 3. Stevens. Cut it back. Turned a loss into a gain of maybe 2. We're talking about Flutie's lack of size and the fact that it may not make any difference. We asked him what dimensions he does bring to the Patriot offense.
What I would want to say is diversity and maybe imagination, that we've made some moves offensively to move the pocket a little bit. We still throw the ball out of the pocket, but we move around and we've run some different things.
Yeah, they've gone from 49% running to 74% running. I'd say that's diversity.
It's hard not to root for Flutie.
It is. You're right.
3rd and yard. Stevens behind Perriman. Good block and a big hole. First down at the 23-yard line. Langford had to make the tackle along with Jarvis Williams. And boy, Perriman threw a good block.
Well, everybody talks about John Stevens, but it's the guy up front that's really making it happen. Watch Perriman right in the middle of your screen. He just stands up that middle linebacker and gives Stevens either way to go. The biggest runs usually come out of short yardage situations because you have the entire defense packed within a 5-yard vicinity. And if somebody breaks through that hole, he's gone.
Stevens gets a breather, 9 carries, 50 yards. Reggie Dupard is in there. And Mosi Tutupu makes his first appearance at fullback. He's number 30 going in motion. Dupard. To the 10, to the 8. Lifford Hobley, the safety, had to make the stop. A flag is down at the end of the play.
Now, we talked about Jarvis Williams, the rookie, being aggressive. This time he just gets too aggressive and gets to the ball carrier a little too late.
And it will be a personal foul. That'll take it to the 4. Williams came out of Florida with a tremendous reputation as a hitter.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 26. Half the distance to the goal line. First down.
Let's take a look at the free safety and see if we can pick up what happened.
Well, here you see Dupard is being run out to the side. And it's just, you know, he just comes in there with the helmet. It's really the shot with the helmet. I mean, if he comes in with his hands, I don't believe they throw the flag. Of course, Shula's not very happy. That's Tom Olivadotti to his left, who's the defensive coordinator. These coaches have these long names. Coach O. Who's going to be called from now on? Coach O tonight.
First and goal from the 4. Dupard. Maybe a yard. Rick Graff was right there. Offerdahl made sure.
There you saw the graphic of how proficient the Patriots have been inside the 20. 16 of 20 times they've gotten into the end zone. Now, that means they're not coming away with 3-pointers. They're knocking the ball in. That's what a running game will do for you.
Well, they signed a new place kicker several games ago. He's only had 1 opportunity for a field goal. They've done so well with their regular offense.
One of the few teams in the league that carried 2 place kickers.
Second and goal from the 3. Stevens is back in behind Tutupu, and he'll get the call. What a great job by William Judson, 49, who just shot into the backfield and made Stevens turn back, and Jackie Klein will get the tackle, but Judson made the play.
Oh, this is the one thing that the Dolphins have not been getting, and that is support from their secondary. Lower part of your screen. Judson's going to come right across, and he forces the entire play backwards instead of forward. Then he waits for his buddies to come and make the tackle.
A loss of 7 puts it back at the 10.
William Judson does not officially get a tackle, but he's responsible for that particular play being a success defensively for the Dolphins.
Third and goal. Flutie got to the 5 and no closer. Williams drove him out of bounds. Also over there was Hugh Green. And they'll have to go for the tying field goal.
There's a case of Doug Flutie's running ability, making something positive out of what could have been a bad play. Steps up in the pocket. He hesitated a few times to try and look to get a receiver open in the end zone. Saw nobody there, took it out of bounds, and protected the opportunity to get something out of this situation in the field.
Eric Kummerow was the guy who made him run, and this is Jason Starosky, free agent out of Tulsa. They signed him when Teddy Garcia just had a terrible time, made only 6 of 13. And now Starosky will try anything under 45 yards. He's 1 for 1 this year. Make it 2 for 2. And Starosky with a 22-yard field goal has tied it at Joe Robbie Stadium. The Patriots 3, the Dolphins 3. Is brought to you by Isuzu, the first car builders of Japan. By Budweiser, Beechwood Age, that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Stanley Works. Stanley helps you do things right. Those shots from the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise from Pompano Beach, Florida, captained by Richard Daniels earlier this week. And this will scare you to death, captained by Joe Theismann.
That's right. I was up there. Jerry Jenkins gave me an opportunity to fly the blimp, and you can hang your arm out. It's like driving down the freeway.
Several birds were injured. This is Joe Cribs from the 10. 20.
You know, I'm sure you wonder why the Patriots carry 2 kickers. There's Garcia. We saw Starosky kick the extra point. Well, Coach Berry is very high on Garcia. He had a terrible game against Buffalo, and he felt like the kid's confidence was shattered, but he didn't want to let him go because of his ability to kick the ball deep on kickoffs. He says it's much better to have the team try and go 80 yards every time because the kid's got such a strong leg. It's better than adding a defensive back or a defensive player to your ball club. So that's why the Patriots carry 2 kickers.
Starowski may help improve that last ranking in the NFL. Marino play action. Drops it off to Hampton. 6 or 7 brought down by Reggie Rembert. Or Johnny Rembert, excuse me.
The thing about Dan Marino that I notice is he is in a rhythm. He gets back, he sets that back foot, he fires the ball. There's no hesitation. He knows where he's going with the football. If I'm New England and the defensive coordinator, I got to be a little bit scared because he has the ability to put the ball anywhere he wants. And if he gets in a rhythm, you just don't know how far he can carry that offense.
He's already 5 out of 6 for 36 yards. About the 31. There is a flag down. Thrown right in the middle of the pile as Tippett lost his hat. You don't want to play without a hat.
Nah, he's so tough. You know, the guy's built like a block of granite.
Another penalty against Miami. This will negate the first down.
Holding 61. 10 yards. Still second down.
Roy Foster, the left guard, 7-year man out of USC.
There you see on the right side of your screen. See the hand come out. See the hands outside of the body of the defensive player. That's what the referee sees. He sees those hands outside and on the guy's back, and that's when they throw the flag. They don't mind if you grab them inside. They can't see it. If you get that hand over where it's exposed, they take a little yellow flag out.
Jackson comes in at 2nd and 13. Tippett on the blitz, doesn't get there. Jensen with the catch. Brought down shy of the 20-yard line. Good coverage by Lawrence McGrew.
Well, Jensen had 12 catches against them last time, so I guess New England figures, hey, I think we ought to cover him this week.
That was a team record, 12 catches in one game. How was it piloting that Goodyear plane?
Fantastic. I mean, if you ever get a chance to go, I think it's a wonderful ride. It's smooth. It's fun. I mean, the windows are open. You're just cruising around with the birds up there. I mean, and driving, it's easy. You don't have to pass anybody. You don't have to use blinkers. Just go where you want to go.
4 wide receivers on 3rd and 11. To the side of Mark Clayton.
That's a case where I think Clayton was really trying to clear out underneath, and what he did is if the ball didn't come to him in a certain area, he felt like, okay, I'll pass the linebacker and Dan will hit me on this side. That time Dan hit him before he was ready for it.
Roby will punt to Irving Fryer. Remember the last time Roby hung it up there forever and Fryer dropped it. Roby's fascinating to watch. That plant foot never leaves the ground. Fryer from the 27. Got one block, needs another one, doesn't get it out to the 33-yard line. 54-yard kick, a 7-yard return for Irving Fryer. And it's the Patriots ball. Hope you'll be with us on Thanksgiving night. Texas A&M and Texas, one of the great rivalries in college football, and all sorts of things going on at Texas A&M. And I'm sure our crew out there will update you on that. Of course, the Longhorns suffering a little bit this year. They expected to have a better football team.
Well, you know, I had a chance to play with one of the great running backs in college football today, Terry Metcalf. His son is there. Eric Boy he's something special.
Sure is.
He'll follow his father into the National Football League someday, I'm sure.
1st and 10 New England, 5:55 to go in the half. Moody again to throw on 1st down. This one's tipped. Brown almost got to it. And it looked like Hugh Green was the guy who got the hand up.
Well, what they're doing is they're rushing Flutie to a certain point, and if they feel like they can't get to him, which they won't want to do, because if they commit themselves, Flutie can get outside. So what they're doing is they're bringing the outside rushers up the field. You'll see it right down here, lower right part of your screen. There comes Hugh Green. Now he says, all right, I have contained. Let me just stop and get up in the air. I think Flutie is really holding the ball a little bit longer than he has to try and release it. He's got to get it out there a little quicker.
He's 4 out of 6. The only 2 that were incomplete were knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Stevens, delay to the 40-yard line. Farrell Edmonds a little shaken up. He's the rookie tight end out of the University of Maryland. They're working on him.
6'6", 250. With exceptional speed, and we saw him make a catch earlier in the first quarter, down the middle when Duper was offside. The Dolphins really feel like that. The concentration in New England's defense will be on the wide receivers. So this guy could come into play real big tonight in that Dolphin offense.
Looks like he has a few cobwebs to shake out of there. 3rd and 4. They'll go with 4 wide receivers. Flutie gets it out. Should be enough for the first down, and it's caught by Irving Fryer. He says Flutie, the way he throws the ball, takes a little getting used to, but he did point out the ball's still the same shape, and it still comes from the same direction.
That's right. Here you see, the thing that you're concerned about a quarterback is not his height, but his delivery height. Where does the ball come out of? That ball's coming out right around 6 feet. That is not real high, but you saw that time. He set that back foot, got it up, and fired it out. You only need a split second to get it either between the hands of a defensive player or over their hands. That time he put a little more zip on it and got the completion.
Farrell Edmonds, we understand, will be back. Stevens slashing up the middle. Broke 1 tackle, got across midfield, so Shea has him around the legs, along with Offerdahl and Brown also in there. You joined us late. Tony Franklin started the scoring up with a 27-yard field goal after a good Miami drive. They got a lot of the yardage in that drive on the ground. And then Starosky tied it with a 22-yard field goal as New England came back and knocked up to 3-3. Stevens, the book on him so far, 12 carries, 55 yards. He had over 100 the last time these two teams played.
It is a little warm down here. There you see Andre Kippen sitting in front of the big fan trying to cool off a little bit.
Cedric Jones is into the wide receiver for Fryer. So Shea after Flutie. And Flutie just flipped it forward to Perryman. And that's why some people criticize him, but that's why I think he's terrific.
Well, I mean, you know, that's the old improv. I mean, you know, that's just improvisation. That's all. Here it is. When in doubt, this is like a forward option. He's going to be chased down. He said, all right, let me stop. Here. Oops. That's almost an oops pass. We're going to have a new category, you know, spiral, end over end, and oops. That's an oops.
Could have caught either end. 2 tight ends come in for New England, Russ Francis and Steve Jones.
I'll tell you, if that goes incomplete, though, you really open up yourself up to a little bit of criticism.
But it didn't, and that's the point with Flutie. Quickly out to Fryer, trying to beat 2 defenders and does for the first down. He split Lifford Hobley and Paul Langford.
And Flutie audibilized at the line of scrimmage. He saw Langford off of Fryer a great distance on 3rd and short, so he figures, what the heck, I'll just stand up and throw the football to him. He can fall forward. Now, there's the audible to the left side. Now, here you'll see it. Now he's going to go down here to the right side and just set and throw the ball. Boom, look at that. 1 step and it's out. You can't get it out any quicker. It's nothing like. I mean, you've got one of your fastest guys one-on-one in the open field. What more can you ask for?
Flutie in a little bootleg. Wants a screen, can't get it. Drops it to Stevens. Flag is down as Stevens gained maybe a yard.
Yeah, well,
Offerdahl made the tackle.
Well, they didn't have one ineligible receiver downfield. They had the whole entire offensive line. So they're going to pick a number out there and say ineligible man downfield, and it could be any one of the offensive line. You know, Farrell, Babb, Wooten, pick who you want in this one. I mean, that was a screen. That was a bootleg screen, and give a lot of credit to the Dolphins. They read it, and they were right in the middle of it. And you know, Flutie, instead of throwing it away, tried to improvise, but It's funny, those guys, those big guys up front, they don't have eyes in the back of their head. They don't know what's going on back there. They go 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. I'll release down the field. And then they turn around and go, oops.
Well, they needed about 4 more thousands on that one.
Ineligible player, number 66, offense downfield, still first down.
See, I told you. They just picked one of the guys up front, that's all. By the time they called Paul Fairchild. I mean, it was a pick 'em up front. You know, he'll get in the films next week and he'll say, but coach, you know, I wasn't alone.
That's right, a lot of
It
company.
wasn't just me.
The unflappable Raymond Berry. See a lot of coaches screaming on the sideline, going crazy. Raymond Berry doesn't do much of that. Tutupu and Depard on the running back. And Flutie throws it behind Francis. And now have to pick himself up.
This is really where the Dolphins want to get the Patriots. They want to have Doug Flutie throw the football. They know that the strength of this New England team has been running the football. It's kept their offense off the field. They want to have 2nd down and 20, 2nd down and 15, 2nd down and 10. Make Flutie do something with the football. The philosophy is if he's going to beat us, he's going to have to beat us through the air. And they don't believe he can do it.
2nd and 20. Miami making a lot of personnel changes from midfield. Perriman back in at fullback. He's the lone setback. Another flag is down. Flutie wants to go deep. Had Morgan open and underthrew. And William Judson recovered to knock it down. But Morgan was open.
Well, what they're doing is you see Jim Tunney pointing his finger. He's trying to count how many Dolphins were on the field. There you see a delay of game signal. I think that's because they were just, you're only allowed to play with 11 on the side. The Dolphins tried to sneak in one other defender.
Well, they're 24th in the league in defense. Maybe 12 would help.
Against the run, and it makes it tough. I played in the Canadian League, and they have an extra guy up there, so it really makes it tough defensively to find holes to throw the football also.
12 men on the field, defense, still 2nd down.
There you see the 22, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there he goes. Didn't get off quick enough. And these guys are too big. You know, Jackie Klein, here's a guy, 6'5", 280. He's not going to hide. Who's going to miss him?
2nd and 15.
He was just thirsty. That's all.
He was going over three. And now Dupard has to run off for New England. They had 12 men on the field. 4-man rush. Flutie right up the middle. Drops it off late, complete to the 38-yard line, and that's the Sammy Martin, the rookie out of LSU, only his 2nd catch, and William Judson plants him inside the 40-yard line. We've reached the 2-minute warning in Miami, and we're tied at 3. Less than 2 minutes to go first half. New England with the ball at the Miami 37-yard line. Pretty good showing so far for Doug Flutie.
Well, yeah, on 3rd downs coming into this ball game, he had averaged 1 out of every 5 completions. Tonight, he's 2 for 3 on 3rd down. So anyway, his level is performing. What people I don't think realize is that Doug Flutie really is a true rookie in the National Football League. I mean, here's a guy who really hasn't played that many football games. He's been on different football teams. He's had to learn different systems. I think last night I wandered into the team dinner for the Patriots. He was sitting with his offensive lineman. Now, that's a smart guy. You know, you're taking care of the guys who are taking care of you. Of course, he doesn't have as much food on his plate, though.
Yeah. Got him this time. T.J. Turner gets the sack at the 42.
A lot of credit to that secondary. There goes the front 4. Now they just come off the ball. Now look at the width of the ends up the field. You see him try and keep Flutie in the pocket, and then they just close it in on him. But you got to give a lot of credit to that secondary. There wasn't anybody open to throw the ball to.
No chance for a field goal, so Fiegels will come on to punt. And Schwades will go back to stand at his 10-yard line, along with Jarvis Williams. Eagles very, very high. And they can't stop it from going into the end zone. 41-yard kick. Nice job by Eagles. Didn't get a lot of help downfield from the special team. At the Pro Bowl on ESPN, the Travelers Corporation will present the Travelers NFL Man of the Year Award to the player whose on-field performance is complemented by significant community involvement. This year's nominees from the Patriots, quarterback Steve Grogan, and from the Miami Dolphins is place kicker Fuad Reveiz. Ball spotted at the 20-yard line with 1:11 to go in the half.
On that last play, if the offensive team does not want to try and make the catch, the team that's kicked the ball, they could have caught that ball on the fly. So, you know, they don't have to wait for it to bounce to try and knock it out of the end zone.
Four-man rush. Marino from the shotgun throws complete at the 30. Very close to a first down. Clayton got it, and right on top of him, Ronnie Lepet. They'll go to the hurry-up. We're under a minute. Marino dumps it for Jensen, and Jensen is unloaded on by Johnny Rembert.
Marino just sits back there and sets and fires. He just, he's the kind of guy, if you want to move the ball down the field in a hurry, he's the kind of guy you want to have pulling the trigger for.
See the stats on Marino, 7 out of 10. That's great, but only 48 yards in the first half.
Well, it's because they run the football. I mean, it's been a very well-played first half by both the offense and defenses of both teams. I mean, each kicker hangs the ball 4 miles in the air, so you're not going to get a big return. And the offenses have tried to run the football. Neither one breaking big ones.
Dolphins have 2 timeouts left. Clayton comes in motion. And Marino looking that way. Instead dumps it for Jensen. Jensen near the 40. That'll be short of a first down. Lepet again on the coverage along with Rembert.
Stole your hat, Mike.
Stay with us at halftime. Chris Berman will be along with the fastest 3 minutes in television highlights of all of today's game. Roy Firestone will have a story of tragedy and hope on Darryl Stingley and Mark Bonaconti, and we'll, of course, have our first half analysis.
You know, in this situation, when you've got 41 seconds to go, you want to move the football down. Your goal, as you visually look at it, your goal is to move the ball down to the 25-yard line. Give your kicker an opportunity to put your team ahead 3-0. And you don't want to make a mistake. Now is the area where you're going to try and take a 15, 20-yard chunk. Maybe another 12, 15-yard chunk. But then you get around that 25-yard area with about 20 seconds left. You can take 3 shots in the end zone or else call timeout and try and kick the field goal. And like I say, with the way these receivers push the ball down the field, you know, they can eat up 20 and 15 yards in a hurry.
3rd and 1. The first thing to do is to keep the drive alive. And Marino, quarterback keeper. That's a great call by Marino. Gets it out to the 46. Saw an opening and took advantage.
I would say they didn't expect him to do it.
No.
That's a fair assessment.
Clock running. Double pump. The flag is down. Pass complete to Stratford. He's at the New England 44. We'll check the penalty flag. And it will go against Miami.
Coach Shula's not very happy. He wants to know what's going on. Totally in command and control. Coach Shula is every phase of the game.
Billy used the hand, number 74. Still first down.
Well, for the second week in a row, we have a coaching legend. Last week it was Tom Landry. This week Don Shula. Both have been under pressure. People saying the game's passed them by. I think it's like saying Einstein didn't do much after he came up with the theory of relativity. These guys are great coaches. We got Chuck Noll next week. It's the same thing. I get to make the same speech 3 weeks in a row. Another flag is down. And Marino over the middle, complete to Clayton. Clayton stays on his feet down to the 45-yard line. He's wrapped up by the safety, Fred Marion. And we'll check out the flag with 11 seconds left.
Well, that time Dan tried to go with the hard count to try and pull New England offside.
And he may have done it.
Question is was he able to do it? And Jim Tunney will tell us after he gets the ball marked and explains everything to everybody.
Close enough also to measure for a first down. And it will be a first down.
See, now Dan Marino really isn't even paying that much attention to what's going on as far as the measurement goes. A lot of times you see quarterbacks look around. That's not his concern. He just sets in the pocket and just fires the ball down the field. Clayton does a good job of running with it after he catches it, plants the brakes, and comes on around. Marion can't bring him down. But what Marino has to do is they've got to get the ball down the field 25 yards to give Franklin an opportunity to have a good shot at a field goal. So they put the 3 receivers up top. One will probably run a deep crossing pattern. Another one will run underneath a shorter pattern. And the other one a deep sideline, trying to isolate one-on-one coverage.
They've got 1 timeout left. They can stop the clock and get the field goal team on if they can complete the pass. Duper couldn't make the grab. That only took 3 seconds off the clock, though. They'll get another shot at it. Roland James back on coverage.
Now, a receiver can go out and catch the ball and go to the ground and declare himself down so that they and call a timeout. So he doesn't necessarily have to be tackled. Although in this particular play, you see what happens when a receiver gets his ribs exposed. It's no fun. That time they had everybody split to one side. They put Duper down there by himself, figuring that the Patriots maybe would shift to the 3 receivers.
They can pick up 15 yards. Franklin still has the leg to get it there. They'll go short. Stratford needs to get out of bounds. And does at the 37 with 1 second left. That was not really a smart play by Stratford. He used up a lot of time.
I don't understand. I just don't understand the last 2 plays. You've got the defense is in a pass defense. You've got 1 receiver working against a minimum of 2 defenders.
Franklin will try from 54. He has kicked a 51-yarder this year. In his career, he's had one as long as 59. Jaworski, the holder. Got a chance. It was wide. Long enough by 5 yards. He really crushed it, but pulled it left. That's the end of the first half. A battle of field goals. New England 3 tie for that second wild card spot record at 7-5. If they win tonight, the Dolphins would get back in the hunt at 6-6. There's a lot of teams in that category. Cribbs from the 6. Across the 20 to about the 22. And there is another penalty flag down. Rod McSwain down to make the tackle.
Can't have a kickoff without a flag, can you?
Apparently not.
There's a push in the back.
You'd think guys would stop doing that.
Well, you know what happens is you don't move your feet, so you get your hands out to try and make a block because you know you're going to catch the living daylights from the coach.
Illegal use of the hands, illegal block in the back. Number 34, 10 yards and first down.
Woody Bennett.
Well, as you line up, you try and find the guy you want to hit, and you just can't get to him. There's the numbers. The time of possession, everything indicates a very even football game. 65 yards passing, 83 yards rushing, 53 yards rushing in the first half for the Dolphins. That has to be considered a major accomplishment for them.
It's good because they only average 69 a game, and Marino has thrown for less than 100 yards. Happens about once in a decade. Davenport. What about 3 out to the 13-yard line? Rembert and Tippett brought him down. Here's what the Dolphins did when they had the ball in the first half. 13-play drive resulted in their only points, the field goal from Franklin, then a loss of yards and punt. They only had the ball 4 times in the first half. It was a very rapid first half Both teams keeping the clock running.
Well, it's indicative, you know, a 13-play drive and 8-play drive. You're talking about 21 plays in 2 drives. The Dolphins, with Marino's arm, very seldom hold the ball that long.
2nd and 6. Had good protection, and it gets it out to Stratford, who's buried at the 20-yard line as soon as he got it. And who else? Johnny Rembert.
Everybody talks about Lawrence Taylor being one of the premier pass rushers. Well, number 56 for the New England Patriots, Andre Tippett, is in that same category. Now, Mark Dennis has the chore to try and hold him out. He wants to protect that inside because he knows Marino's not a scrambler. So he tries to run him up the field, and then he does, when he tries that little spinny move inside, he just slides his body. The most important facet of a lineman is how well he moves his feet, because where those feet go, that big body's going to follow.
And Dennis is playing for John Giesler, the regular starter, who has a bad back. 3rd and 6. Marino deep. Had his man wide open and overthrew him by 5 yards. Duper was out there, and you don't see Marino miss that badly very often.
Well, you know, the Dolphin receivers have a lot of flexibility in their patterns. They can make breaks, they can break it off, they can come back, they can continue the pattern up the field. I don't necessarily agree with that style as a quarterback. I never liked that. I never liked my receivers to have a lot of options. It's worked very well for Dan Marino and Mark Duper and Mark Clayton because they've worked together so long. There was a case of where Dan just jacked one out too far.
2nd and 10. Miami at its own 20. Stratford on the delay. Excuse me, Hampton. He gets about 5 yards. And brought down by Thomas Benson. Picked him up from San Diego in a trade this year. Has a reputation as a big hitter.
Well, you know, they use him as a defensive end. And it was interesting talking to Raymond Berry about, he said, you know, you check the waiver wires, and it's almost impossible to find defensive linemen. So what you see now is you see these big linebackers. He's 6'2", 245. The coaches are just putting them down and making them pass rushers, so they don't have to find defensive linemen when somebody gets hurt.
3rd and 5. Marino changing the play. And somebody moved early and a flag is down. Marino throws what would be just shy of a first down. Schwade's made the catch at the sideline, but one of the Dolphins got an early start.
Well, I think one of the Dolphins was looking up at the 30-second clock, and he said, well, it's going to go to 0. I better get out of here. And Dan just did barely get the play off, but without much time to spare.
Illegal motion. Number 83, offense is declined.
That's Clayton. And we haven't heard much from Clayton and Lepet in their celebrated verbal battle.
Well, it's because everybody's running the football. Neither one of these, you know, I mean, Clayton and Duper, let's face it, they're not going to go out and block and knock down people. I mean, it's just not in their repertoire. These guys are pass catchers. So, you know, because they're not catching the ball on the outside, you're not going to see that hand-to-hand contact.
Fryer waits at his 20 for Roby to punt.
I'm looking for a martial arts.
Roby brings it down. Another pretty kick. Fire from the 20. And gets it back to the 26-yard line. 7-yard return after a 50-yard punt from Roby. Tony Perjanik was down to make the catch. New England had about the same amount of success in the first half as the Miami Dolphins did. First drive was only 5 plays and resulted in a punt, then 4 and another punt. Then they got their good drive that lasted 12 plays and resulted in a tying field goal. And as Miami, they only had the ball 4 times in the first half.
Well, and there you see, you know, you get the 12-play drive. The Dolphins had the 11. And then you get the 9-play drive, and the Dolphins had the 8. So you're seeing 2 offenses mirror one another through this game. Actually, when you look at the tempo of this game, it favors the New England Patriots because they use a running attack. They want to keep the score low. They want to stay close in the game. And truthfully, I think their kicker, Garcia, I mean, this kid's got a 60-plus foot. So if it comes down to having to try an exceptionally long field goal at the end, the favor has to go to the Patriots.
Perriman, the first man. Up to about the 33. Dolphins gang tackle him. Offerdahl again, the first man there. Offerdahl just had an immediate impact when he joined this ball club.
Well, you know, he's out of Western Michigan. It's a perfect height for an inside linebacker. 6'3", about 240, and just plays with so much intensity and so intelligent. I mean, right from the beginning, the guy made an impact. Bang! Right now, he's out there, and he's making things happen. He hasn't stopped since.
2nd and 6. Stevens gets the call. Another good block by Perriman. Broken tackle, lost the ball, but it goes out of bounds at the 42-yard line. Lifford Hobley came up to make the tackle. T.J. Turner was chasing him down from behind.
What we saw in the first half is we saw New England come out and throw on first down their first 2 possessions to try, I think, and change the rhythm of the game. It has not been that successful for them. They've had the one big drive, another 9-play drive. What the Patriots, I'm sure, have said in the locker room is, okay, look, we know where our bread and butter lies. Our bread and butter lies in John Stevens' hands. Let's give him the football.
They've given it to him 12 times, and he's run for 62 yards so far. First down from the 42. Perriman behind Stevens. Blocking for each other. And Perriman's up to the 47-yard line. Brian Sauché, the nose man, made the stop. Sauché is one of those guys who can bench press more than 500 pounds, and if you can't relate to that, you lifted a lot of weights. What was your best bench press?
How about squat? I mean, I squatted 405. I was 190 pounds, and I squatted. That's when you put the weights on your shoulders and bend down and get up. Bench press, I've never had that big, massive chest with the pecs. It was about 230, to be honest.
I was going to ask, was it close to 5?
No, not real close to 5. As soon as I tried to avoid it.
Stevens on the delay, wrapped up in the backfield. Jackie Klein was right there to make the tackle. Klein, who has a reputation as a pretty good man against the run, did the job that time.
Right here, the offside, which is this side of the line of scrimmage, when the ball is being run this way, the offside guys have to make their blocks for the running plays to be successful. There you see Klein just takes the inside. He gets right in the back pocket of the tackle, and Stevens doesn't have an opportunity to cut upfield. So they've got to cut off that backside if you are going to run from the tailback position.
3rd and 9, the position they want to have Doug Flutie in. Blitz. Picked up very well, and now Flutie on the scramble. Got the first down. Williams shoves him out of bounds, and a flag goes down. A 15-yard gain. There may be 15 more, as Williams gave Flutie a shove, and it didn't look like he was that far out of bounds.
Well, you don't have to be that far out of bounds. When the guy crosses the white line, you got to leave him alone. That's stupid. That's just plain stupid. He hurts his football team. It's a 3-3 football game. The Dolphins are out there struggling for their life. Now, Schuler's going to be upset. He's going to be mad about it because they have big screens here in Joe Robbie Stadium. He can see the replay, and he's going to say, for crying out loud, it wasn't that close. But Tunney's going to do everything he can to protect the people around the ball.
Here's the call.
Personal foul, number 26. Unnecessary roughness, out of bounds, first down.
That is the 2nd personal foul on Jarvis Williams this game.
And also the first one led to the field goal because it gave him field position. Now, Flutie's out of bounds right now. Okay, he's out of bounds. He doesn't have to shove him. There's no reason to do it. It may be a marginal call. If you're a Dolphin fan, you say it was a marginal call. But the officials are going to do everything they can to protect the ball carrier.
Perriman cracks inside the 20-yard line. Hugh Green down there on the bottom of the pile. This is not the Hugh Green that people remember from 82, 83, 84 with Tampa Bay when he was simply the best.
Well, you know,
but he's come back a long way.
He has come back a long way, but you're never what you were. I know when my leg was broken in 85 and I came back and I wanted to play football, I said, geez, my arm feels great, but there are other parts of your body, and your mind is sharper. But the body just says, I can't get it there like I used to. I can't move to the ball in Hugh Green's case like I used to.
2nd and 3. Stevens. Cracks down to the 16-yard line. Should be enough for another first down.
First down, New England.
Stevens has been a workhorse back since he's had the chance to start. They don't want him to carry the ball more than 25 times because they figure he's really going to get worn down. 25 is plenty. He's carried 14 tonight.
I'd be worn at 10. What do you mean 25 times? He's carried 14 times already. You're right.
Irving Fryer has a bruised calf. He will be back, we're told. First and 10 Patriots. Stevens. Combination of speed and power. He got inside the 5-yard line. Should be another first down. Jarvis Williams took him out.
Well, I'll tell you, one thing that the Dolphins are going to have to do is they're going to have to be very, very conscious of whether Flutie is going to take the ball and head on a bootleg. That's something they have to be very, very careful of because he has that ability to run. And when you get a running back moving with the ball like Stevens has done and making those plays outside, you get focused on that one individual and you just can't do it.
Spot the ball inside the 5. It is first and goal, New England. Stevens gets a breather. Reggie Dupard comes in with Mosi Tutupu. Dupard down to the 5. Maybe lost half a yard. Lifford Hobley was in the backfield in a hurry and messed up the timing.
You know, the Dolphins have had an the Patriots have had the opportunity to get down close because of being helped by penalties. We saw the graphic of how many the Dolphins have committed this year. 46 penalties in the last 4.5 games they have committed. And you can't be in contention to win football games if you keep giving away yardage or taking away from yourself.
Second and goal from the 5. They love to roll Flutie out down here. Instead, they'll give it to Dupard again. This time he makes it to about the 3. Offerdahl made the tackle once more. Rick Graff was also there. Brings up third and goal.
Again, you see how deep Dupard is set. And what they're trying to do is spread that Dolphin defense out and just try and let him pick a hole. That's the 10th play in this drive, and they have not thrown a pass yet. They tried to, but Flutie ran it.
Dupard may have to have off-season surgery on his shoulder. He's in there on short yardage. Dupard again. Flag is down. So is Dupard. The Dolphin defense has risen up when they had to. Lifford Hobley, the first man there, will check the penalty.
False start. Right guard. 5 yards. Still third down.
Apparently the penalty came before the play, so they'll mark it off.
Yeah, but you see, Ron Wooten, okay, he's the right guard. Now, he's 6'4", 273. Dupard is 5'11", 205. For him to get out in front of that little guy, he's got to get a little bit of an edge. So he figures, what the heck, I think I'll start a little quicker. You'll see it here on the right side of your screen, number 61. There you see, he knows that fast halfback's getting the ball, so he just tries to lean to get out. I mean, that big, you can't hide when you move. Mike, I mean, it's not like you're a little tiny person flinching. It's a big human being.
We'll make it third and goal from the 8. Harriman and Stevens now the backs. Flutie on the roll. And they've got him at the 17. Jackie Klein gets the sack.
Well, you see Flutie now, he almost made a mistake to try and throw back across the field when everybody's in the end zone. Here he does the right thing in eating it, but I think after he gets more comfortable at playing quarterback, he'll throw the ball away. And you see, now how much is Coach Shula into this game? Look at the gyrations. That's all right. See, when he was leaning back, that means that he had Flutie in the grasp.
Starofsky for the field goal. He's 3 for 3 on the season. And New England goes on top of Miami 6-3. Miami is being brought to you by Cadillac Motor Car Company.
Discover why the only way to travel is Cadillac style. By Michelob, one taste will tell you why the night belongs to Michelob. And by Allstate, for home, auto, and life insurance, you're in good hands with Allstate. (6-3), New England kicking off. Cribbs from inside the 5. Across the 20 to the 25-yard line. Jim Bowman down to make the tackle for New England. It's 6-3. We'll be back in a moment. In the third quarter, the Goodyear blimp helping us cover this ball game from Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. Captain Richard Daniels out of Burbank, California at the controls tonight.
They take out all the seats in that thing, you know, to put up the cam that shoots that. It's really neat. It's really, I mean, I'm telling you.
You know, the next toy you're going to get, you're going to buy your own blimp. It'll say Joe.
Big balloon.
Hampton in at running back for the Dolphins, and he'll get the call. Picks up about 7 out to the 33.
Well, Don Shula told us earlier in the week that you really have to have some kind of a running game, and the Dolphins have done better tonight than they have in most games all year long.
And the reason why is they're controlling Tim Goad, who's the nose tackle for the New England Patriots, and they're getting that push up the middle. Foster, Dellenbach, and Galbraith are creating that little wedge so that the running backs can get in and pick a hole.
2nd and 2.
They've shattered their season average already. Had 70 yards rushing. Their average is 69.
Davenport will add to it. Huge hole, and he lowered his shoulder, got to midfield. He ran right over Fred Marion, who's a heck of a tackler. A 15-yard gain for Davenport. That's his longest run of the year.
Right in the middle. There you see the center get out. Number 65 comes down. That's Edmund Nelson, and then they create the hole. It's the 3 guys in the middle that are making it all happen up front for the Dolphins right now.
Mark Dennis also threw a great block downfield.
There's another look. See how they just collapse that inside? They bring Ronnie Lee around to create the hole. They're really trapping with the tackle and wiping down the linebackers in the nose.
Davenport again to the New England 47-yard line. And because of this ability to run the ball tonight, Marino still only has 95 yards passing. He usually gets that in the first 5 minutes of the game.
Well, you know what's funny, too, is the Miami fans, they don't know how to clap for this. I mean, it's good football. This is good, smart, fundamental, sound football. But they're used to seeing the ball go all over the stadium, and they're clapping, and they're cheering, they're going ooh and ah. Now they just sit there and go, holy mackerel, look at this.
There has not been a turnover in this ballgame. Stratford and Bennett are now in.
Marino, Tippett almost had him. He got it to Stratford. Great move, got inside the 40 to the 38. Will be another first down. Tippett was that close to sacking Marino, and that's why he hasn't been sacked in 7 straight games.
That's the lower left part of your screen. Number 56, Andre Tippett coming in. Mark Dennis blocking him. Now Marino steps up, and this is a flick of the wrist. This is not a throw. We saw Flutie shot put one earlier. This is just a little flick of the wrist by Marino, and he gets it out. Tippett's still holding on to me. He says, now you know what they do? When you talk, he says, how did you get that off? And he says, it was simple.
Hampton was hit in the backfield.
That time Tippett snuck over to the other side. He says, aha, you blocked me on the left side, but I'm over here now.
Boy, Hampton did a nice job to adjust so he didn't lose 3 or 4 yards. He saw that coming.
We were talking to the coaches with the Patriots last night, and they mentioned the fact that in talking to the Denver Bronco players, Tippett's always been compared to Lawrence Taylor. They felt like through 60 minutes that Tippett is a harder hitter than Taylor. Now,
that's scary.
I don't know if that's possible because I've had a personal experience with Lawrence Taylor, and he hit pretty hard.
2nd and 11. Comes the reverse.
Clayton. And Marion was waiting for him along with McGrew, and they had him at the 35-yard line.
Dan Marino had another chance to throw another block. In last week's Monday night game against Buffalo, they split him out at wide receiver, and he had a chance to try and block. Now here he makes the handoff. Now he's leading the reverse, but he's smart. He turns around and looks for the first white shirt and falls down. It goes down. Hey, it's a block. It goes down as a block, and he picked out
He got Tippett.
Sure. I don't think you'll see him with a full cage yet.
3rd and 7. To go to the shotgun. New England showing blitz. Marino handed it off, and they'll be well shy of the first down. Stratford got maybe 3.
Well, here's decision time. Okay, you're basically out of Tony Franklin's range, because if you try and kick a field goal, you're looking at a 50-yarder.
I'd give him a shot at it.
Well, you know, you mentioned before, at the end of the half, he took a shot at one of 50 yards, and it was had about 5 yards extra distance. So we're talking now right at 50. He was a little bit left on the last one.
Remember, Jaworski is the holder. He's hit from 51 this year. Short and wide this time. So Franklin has had 2 long tries after kicking a 27, and it's still a 3-point ball game. That's next week, the Saints and the Giants. 8 seconds to go here in the quarter. Stevens ran right into Turner. Got to the 35-yard line. And that will be the end of the 3rd period. In a game we thought would have a lot more points, it's 6-3. Roy Firestone's halftime piece on Darryl Stingley and Mark Bonacani, and there you can see Mark Bonacani just above the P and the R in the word project. If you want to help or want more information, call 1-800-STAND-UP, and you'll get some information about the Miami project. Joe, you've been involved in that.
I have. Nick Bonacani, Mark's dad, has asked me to get involved and attend some dinners, and it's just a great thing. They really believe that they can cure paralysis, but they need everybody's help.
Stevens. Jackie Klein got him for a gain of only a yard. Well, you said at the beginning of this game that this might turn out to be just smash face, and that's what it's been.
Well, it's become a smash face. I think the Dolphins are proving something, that they can run the football. They've hurt themselves with a couple of penalties. I mean, New England's gotten 6 points, the results basically of 2 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct calls against Jarvis Williams. Other than that, this has been a dead-even football game.
4 wide receivers for the Patriots on 3rd and 6. Flutie will try to run for it. Willing to take the shot, but he didn't get to the stick. Stopped 3 yards shy at the 40. And good hustle by the Miami defense.
Well, there you see, you can only go to the well so often. I think sooner or later, Flutie's going to have to sit in the pocket and throw the football. I mean, he's being forced out of the pocket. There's the comparisons. Both of them have great numbers on the night, but the yards per attempt are very minimal. I mean, you look, again, the statistics, they say they're for losers, but they also tell you how the game's going. This is an even football game.
And there was another great hand for the Miami defense. They haven't heard that around here in quite a while.
Well, they haven't. They've stopped the runners.
Fiegels to punt to Schwady. Beautiful kick. Schwady's at the 21. The 30 and no further. 39-yard kick, a lot of hang time. A 10-yard return. Danny Villa down to make the tackle. Back in a moment. On an absolutely miserable day in December 1982, the Dolphins and the Patriots were engaged in a scoreless deadlock. Then Patriot coach Ron Meyer ordered a snowplow onto the field to clear a path for a New England field goal attempt. John Smith split the uprights, and the Pats beat the Dolphins 3-0. Dolphins start from their own 30, down 6-3. Marino drops it to Davenport. Davenport gets out to the 37, lost the ball after he hit the ground.
You know, Mike, after 3 quarters, Miami's play selection, this will sound unusual. First quarter, 10 runs, 4 passes. Second quarter, 1 run, 10 passes. Third quarter, 7 runs, 5 passes. And I really believe, if you're a gambling guy and you look at the trend here, you got to figure they're going to throw the football a little bit more because they've only managed to produce 3 points trying to establish the fact that they can run the football.
Well, you're right. All coaches want balance, but they want more than 3 points,
too. You want points, not balance.
2nd and 3. Four-man rush. Marino's had good protection all night long. Over the middle, Farrell Edmonds. Down to the New England 46. And speaking of 3 points, when you look at Miami, you think of all these points. In the last 11 quarters, they've got 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals. That's all.
That's what's been a result of an inept offense. Here you see him isolated against the linebackers. Now, we talked about the fact that with Miami having such great wide receivers with such a reputation and the good corners of the New England Patriots, the place to work is in the middle. And there's young David Shula, 29 years old, assistant head coach, and also calling the plays. He says he likes to be on the sidelines, and it's a little bit unusual for him, but he can get a real feel of the game down there.
Bradford and Davenport in the eye. Bradford on the carry. Good block by Davenport. Great cut back by Bradford. Down to the 31-yard line. Raymond Claiborne had to make the saving tackle.
We talked earlier about the offside cutoff blocks. Now, when the back goes this way, watch this backside here create a hole and cut off the New England Patriots and create that alley up the middle so that Stratford has a chance to cut back. See the offside blocks? There's a natural alley if that offside, the guys, by offside you mean the guys away from where the ball is originally going. If they do their job, you get that crater up the middle.
First down, Dolphins. They're behind by 3. Davenport, another big hole. Rembert got him as he reached the 25-yard line along with McGrew and Ronnie Lepet.
Marino must feel like he's lost a little bit out there. Because all normally he's always facing the line of scrimmage because when he drops back, he's seeing the defense. Now he's turning around, he's making handoffs. This is the first time I have seen Dan Marino in this type of an offense. And I really feel like if the Dolphins can run the football, you're looking at a guy who could easily be a 70% passer because of his quicks, because of his receivers, and because they just can't rush him and cover just the wide receiver. They have to respect the run.
His numbers would go down, but he would still be terrific. Rifles that one to Edmonds, can't come up with it. Right on top of him was Ed Reynolds. Now, there's been some controversy down here about David Shula calling the plays, and Don Shula really upset about that criticism.
Well, the thing you have to understand is David Shula maybe doesn't have the years of experience that a lot of offensive coordinators do or people involved in the passing game. I mean, he's almost he's only a couple years older than the quarterback he's calling the plays for. But he sits in the meeting with Coach Shula, Dan Marino. Everybody puts the plays together. And Marino, by the way, on the field, has complete authority to change or do what he feels is right. So it's a cumulative thing. It's not just one individual.
3rd and 5, Jensen is in there. Stays in the block. Marino sidearmed that one and got the completion at the 20 to Clayton. What a great throw. And now the officials will confer. Patriots wanted the incomplete, but it is complete. Some throw by Marino.
Well, you just step to the side and fire it out. Here you see him slide. Tim Goad said that Marino is a drifter. Now here he drifts to the right and just unloads that thing from the side.
He got it outside of Edmund Nelson, number 65, who was putting the pressure on. Lepet was right on Clayton.
And they're going to take a look at it upstairs. As we saw it, here's another look at it, and you make the call.
Looked like a catch to me.
Looks like it slid out by his elbow.
I would have thought it would have been interference if it wasn't.
First down. Jim Cunning thinks it was a catch. And you know something? He's the only guy who matters in this discussion.
The only one who counts.
That's right.
9:48 in a very rapidly moving ball game here at Joe Robbie Stadium. Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann with you. Glad you could join us on ESPN on a Sunday night. Hampton and Davenport the backs on 1st and 10.
Davenport to the 10-yard line. Reynolds had to bring him down.
If the Dolphins get a touchdown here, it changes the entire complexion of this football game for New England, because, see, they're not within field goal range to tie it and take it to overtime. They have to get a touchdown, and they have not been productive throwing the football with 9 minutes and a little change to go. I can't see them just taking the ball and going 80 yards and driving it down and winding up with 6 points, because they haven't scored a touchdown tonight.
Passing teams generally have trouble in this area. Miami, tonight notwithstanding, is still a passing team. Stratford needed to get near the 9 for the first down, and it looks like his forward progress took him there.
There you saw David Schuler conferring with Don Schuler. I asked David Schuler, I said, do you call your father Dad at all? And he says, only at home or when he comes over to visit the grandkids. He says, I call him the boss around the Dolphin camp. Another thing about Dan Marino is Marino has thrown 5 touchdown passes in the first quarter, 5 touchdowns in the second, 5 in the third of the games that he's played. He's only thrown 1 touchdown pass in the fourth quarter of the first 11 games of the season. So he's got his own personal little challenge going right now.
And as you can see, they have not done well this year in that category. Hampton and Bennett are the backs. Marino throws this one up into the front row.
Was it a completion?
No, it was dropped.
Oh, was it?
But he's upset with somebody. One of his receivers.
Well, what he's trying to do
somewhere else.
Well, no, what he's trying to do is he's explaining to the umpire. He says, look, they're holding my back out of the backfield. They're grabbing onto the receivers. And you do that. It's like working the sides. You ever see coaches in basketball work the refs a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you do the same thing in football. The quarterback or the coach are trying to alert those guys that something's going on.
3 Miami runners have more than 30 yards rushing. It's the first time this year. That's an incredible statistic. Davenport stops shy of the 5. Tim Jordan, number 93, in on the tackle. It will bring up a 3rd and goal.
Last time the Dolphins got down close, we saw them run the play action pass to try and get the touchdown. They had 3rd and 1. Now they've got 3rd and 6 from the 6. They're going to throw the football. I mean, I can't see them running the football, and New England makes the appropriate substitutions and bring in their entire defensive secondary. Only Johnny Rembert stays in, number 52. They don't play a nickel. They just play a dime defense, which means that they bring in 6 defensive backs.
Jensen is in at fullback. We haven't called his name very much at all tonight. Thrown to the end zone, incomplete, intended for Freddie Banks, and knocked away by Fred Marion. An excellent safety.
Well, this is where Banks just goes down, hooks in the end zone, and Marino's just fired at his chest. Now there's the ball, there's the throw, and Ray Claiborne just does manage to get his right arm up around the chest of Freddie Banks, and the ball gets knocked away. This is Tony Franklin with his bare foot. You know, I went barefoot in water ski with the Canadian water ski team. Doug and Chris Gray taught me how to barefoot water ski. I think Franklin could do it. Hooked it.
Franklin, who had missed 2 long field goal attempts, hooks a 23-yarder. And they're upset in Miami.
From Miami is brought to you by Mazda and the exciting new Mazda cars and trucks for 1989. By UPS, we deliver to every address in the U.S. and to 41 countries worldwide. And by Pitney Bowes. See how your mailroom, copier, facsimile, and dictation systems can profit from the Pitney Bowes relationship. Tony Franklin on the sideline, 1 out of 4 tonight. Missed a chip shot 23-yarder. The expatriate had a chance to tie his old teammate.
He keeps missing those with that barefoot. He's going to have to take up water skiing because they're not going to like it around here very much.
And buy street shoes. Stevens. Hugh Green. Well, he left Hugh Green standing still, got to the outside, picked up a couple.
He's so smooth as he slides outside. You sometimes look at the holder and wonder if the ball is down right. Ron Jaworski is the holder. It's sitting still and it's angled. That really is a chip shot. He just flat hooked it. He has not had a very good record here in Miami after being picked up. That's the worst thing that happens to you, too, is when you throw an interception or you miss a field goal, the other team comes over and congratulates you.
He was 3 of 7 coming into the game, 1 of 4 tonight. Quadreves, their regular kicker, has been injured. Perriman. Ball came loose. It'll be ruled down.
The Patriots have fumbled once in every 66 carries, which is the best in the National Football League. So you can almost bet that they're going to just try and continue to pound the ball and work the clock. And the chances of it coming out are not very good.
See if Perriman was down.
Just to make sure.
Ooh.
Well, that's good. Also, you have to remember that the whistle blows. Yes. It's not just where he is. It's his forward progress stop and the whistle being blown.
We need a replay system that shows the whistle. Flutie throws low, intended for Cedric Jones. Don McNeil on the coverage.
I had a chance to visit with Doug Flutie, and he was talking about his mechanics, and sometimes he just doesn't feel comfortable throwing the football, and he really hasn't. He says he's become a streak thrower, and there he sets his back foot, but he throws completely off balance. I mean, he's got his left foot winging one way and the ball going the other, and again, we're talking about a young guy who really has to refine the position of quarterback for himself.
And that one was totally sidearm.
You know, in the second half, he's 0 for 1. That's the first pass they tried to throw this entire half.
Schwades waits at the 35 for Fiegel's punt. It hit one of the Dolphins in the helmet. One of the blockers still loose. It appeared to hit Renee Thompson and became a free ball. Oh, isn't that bizarre?
Well, what happens is the up man, the guy who is supposed to protect the kicker, the punt returner, is supposed to give him 3 or 4 yards to be able to field that ball. On that particular play, it looked like Renee Thompson was pushed all the way back into Sweeties. There you see him being pushed back. Gibson does the right thing. He just pushes the blocker right back into the receiver's hands. Now, the receiver has to have free access to catch the ball. But that's only by the defensive players, not by his own man.
Lifford Hobley finally recovered the fumble, and the Dolphins will have it when we come back. Schwades on the sideline. Was not his problem on the punt. But he's just as happy to see the Dolphins have the football at their own 29.
It was his problem. It wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely his problem trying to field it, but it wasn't his fault. You just can't have that guy push back in your face when you're trying to catch it.
Davenport and Hampton come out behind Marino. 5:47 left in the game. 6-3 New England.
There you see the numbers on Marino tonight. 147 yards, a little bit below his average, like about 100 yards.
Hampton hurdles one tackler, gets out to the 33. Tim Goad made the stop.
There comes a point when you have to abandon the running attack if you're the Dolphins. I believe that it's now. I think that you have to go with what you do well. There haven't been a lot of mistakes. It's been an error-free football game, but you have to try and put the ball down the field. You can't just try and grind it out because you just don't have enough time in this game.
Second and 6. Jensen. Midfield. 45. Knocked out by Roland James. The 4th catch tonight for Jim Jensen. 21-yard gain that time. Look at this. He has caught as many balls this year as he had in his entire career. And that, folks, at 21 yards was the longest play of the game.
Ronnie Jaworski made the comment. He thought that Jim Jensen this year should be the team MVP. And I tend to agree with him. The guy's done everything for the Dolphins offensively.
Davenport, he's run well tonight, gets to the 41. And now you have to start wondering if you can get into the head of Tony Franklin. Does he want another opportunity? He's already missed 3, 2 of which, though, long field goals.
50, 51 yards. Absolutely, he wants another shot at it. I mean, he's got to be delighted that the Dolphins got that kick back and that he's on a team with an offense that has Dan Marino at quarterback, because it's going to give him a chance. Of course, he wants him to get closer, but it's going to give him a chance to be able to really redeem himself.
Davenport, 7 carries, 45 yards so far tonight. It's 2nd and 5. And Roy Foster, the left guard, jumped.
What happens?
Ball start, number 61. Still 2nd down.
The offensive lineman is concentrating so much on his assignment that he hears a sound and he says, oh, that's a snap count, I better get going, and went. He's off. A lot of times, the quarterback, I've come to the line of scrimmage and asked my lineman what the snap count is, because you just forget, because you have all these other things on your mind. And I'm sure that's a case where somebody went, poof. He's gone.
Hard for some people to understand. Usually it's no more than 3. 2nd and 10. Marino throws wide, intended for Clayton. Lepet was right there. Hasn't been much jawing between them or the rest of the New England defense and Clayton tonight.
It's been a quiet war. There they are, head to head. This is the way they love it. Now Lepet just backs off to the outside, and Clayton runs a nice little zig out, for lack of a better description. He plants that inside foot and breaks out. And you see Marino throwing on the run, which is not something I'm sure he practices very much. And if you don't practice it, you're just not going to get good at it.
3rd and 10, biggest play of the game for the Dolphins. 3:54 left. They're down by 3 points. Four-man rush. Tipped. Johnny Rembert got back from his inside linebacker spot and got a hand on it.
And I got to believe the Dolphins have to go for it on 4th down in this particular situation. I would have thought, thinking that you're going to use 2 plays, why throw the ball 10, 15 yards down the field? Why not play it like 2 plays? See, maybe hit Jensen out of the backfield again for 5 or 6 yards and then wind up with now a 4th down and 3, a 4th down and 4 that gives you more options. Now they're obligated. They basically either got to go to the tight end down the middle or try and get the ball to one of the wide receivers somewhere in the 10, 15-yard range.
Or Jensen coming out of the backfield. They've hit him 4 times. 4th and 10. Jensen goes out into the pattern. Marino looking that direction. Flags are down. Whistles blow. They'll stop the play.
Delay exceeding the 30-second count.
They didn't get the play off in time. Now it's 4th and 15. Does this change your decision?
It does. I think Shula still has to look at it. I still think they have to go. I shouldn't say it does. No, it don't. I would still think that he should go for it, but I'm sure he's not going to because 15 yards is a heck of a lot to get. You know they're going to drop back. You have 3 minutes and 47 seconds to go. And you may as well, okay, now your defense has got to do their job. There you see Brent Williams walking off the field, probably just tired. You know, these guys from New England come down here, and it's 80 degrees and a humid night in Miami, and they're shoveling snow up north, or at least it's a little chilly.
Now, Roby's going to try to hang one up, punting from midfield. Fryer waits at the 10. 3:47 to go, so the Dolphins uncharacteristically are going to have to rely on their defense to hold one last time and get them the ball back.
And they have to remember now, the guy that's going to be going down covering the kicks can catch this ball if the New England player decides he doesn't want to make a play on it.
Highest anybody ever hit. Really not all that high. Good kick anyhow. Fryer, fair catch, makes it at the 13-yard line. 3:39 left in the game. 38-yard punt, no return. From the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise out of Pompano Beach, Florida. Beautiful stadium down here outside of Miami.
Scene of Super Bowl 23.
We'll be here.
You bet.
Patriots will be working on the clock. They start from their own 13. Flutie on the fake. Just floats it to Francis, who made the catch and fell down at the 26. He got that ball over T.J. Turner. It looked like a shot put, but it's not what it looks like. It's where it goes.
Well, we've talked about Doug Flutie. He hasn't really said well. He's much better. He's a much better passer, or getter-dunner, I guess is a better description than passer on the run. He's just laid the ball up. You know, we saw the one earlier, just a little shot put, a little jump shot. Now this is just a little flick ball. Right up to Francis, and you know, he's getting it done. No matter how you say it, no matter how you cut it, the guy's getting it done.
Coming into this game, Russ Francis had caught 3 passes all year long. He's caught 3 tonight. And look at Flutie. He's only had 3 incompletions. 2 of those were knocked down for line of scrimmage. Perriman across the 30 to 31. Gain of about 5.
Miami calls timeout, I believe.
And they do it with 2:44 to go.
Well, the reason why you do that is because you're going to have the 2-minute warning coming up for you, which will be a time to stop the clock. If they can stop New England here, force them to punt the ball, they have a lot of options. You've got one of the greatest throwers in the game. You've got some great receivers. You do have a kicker that can kick the ball a long way, although he hasn't been very successful tonight, long or short. But the timeouts aren't going to do you that much good. It's not that, you know, you got a quarterback who can handle it without it. So you don't have to really worry about that. You want to stop New England and leave yourself time on the clock. I wouldn't be surprised if they stop them here on 3rd down or on 2nd down. They'll call another timeout. They may leave one, they may not have to. As long as they have one going in after the 2-minute warning, that offense should be able to get some kind of points on the board. Remember, they only need 3 points to put this thing in overtime.
The Dolphins have had such a high-powered offense coming into this season. When they had held their opponents to 17 points or less, they had won 33 straight games. This year, they're 3-2 when they've held their opponents to 17 points or less. They've only given up 6 tonight. It's a tremendous performance by the Miami defense, and yet they're in danger of losing again.
Well, Don Shula has said it. He said our offense cannot and has not made big plays in the 4th quarter. That is, if you're going to put an asterisk next to the Miami Dolphins season to date, that is what it has to be. They can't make big plays in the 4th quarter, or they haven't.
2nd and 5. If they don't get the ball back from New England, they won't have another chance. Perriman. About a yard shy of a first down. Mark Brown, number 51, made the tackle. And Miami will stop it again. That leaves them with 1 timeout.
And New England's running the football over Bruce Armstrong, who went to Coach Berry. There you see Coach Shula concerned about the time. But Bruce Armstrong went to Coach Berry and said, look, in the Cincinnati game, he said, hey, Coach, you told us that you were going to give us a chance as an offensive line to create a running game. Why not give us the opportunity? And he has, and it's produced 4 wins for him. Very bright kid out of Louisville. #1 draft choice. The last 2 #1 draft choices, of course, Armstrong last year, John Stevens this year, have really produced for the Patriots.
And Stevens came out of Northwestern State in Louisiana. And he has the greatest attitude about this. He didn't think that he would do much more than play a little bit. He said he never had an idea he'd end up starting and never had an idea that he would end up #2 in the conference in rushing. As you mentioned earlier, Eric Dickerson, his hero, the guy that he studies on videotape, and Eric Dickerson, the only one in the conference that has more rushing yards.
Well, yeah, he describes himself as a combination of Herschel Walker and Eric Dickerson. Now, I'd take either one.
Yeah.
But if you can get a combination in a running back, you've got a quality guy.
He's gained 81 yards tonight on 18 carries. And it's been a tough game because the Dolphins have played very well on defense.
And really, I think the key tonight for the Patriots is they've managed to stay out of many 3rd down and 10 or more, because they, you know, we talked earlier, 1 out of 32 coming into the game. So they kept the ball in the 3rd and short and 3rd and 5 and 6 range.
3rd and 1. Stevens.
Depends on the spot. He got very, very close. And they're spotting it past the 36-yard line. That will be a first down. Initially, it didn't look like he made it. They will bring in the chains, however. He sort of slid down the pile after he was tackled and slid forward.
Yeah, as long as your body doesn't hit the ground, you can just walk all over the guys and get there. Doesn't matter.
First down. And now the Dolphins have one timeout left. Plus, they'll get the free one at the 2-minute warning.
This is the most important down in the game for the Dolphins. If they can shut down New England's offense, if they gain 1 or 2 yards, they could use the other timeout. I just don't agree with that. Not at all. I think you let them run a play. You know what I mean? They'll take it down to the 2-minute warning. You let them run a play, then you call the timeout. So now you're looking at 3rd down. They let the clock run down. You stop them, so you get the ball back with about 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. You'll have about, what do you need, 60 yards to go down?
Mm-hmm.
I would think. Now Jackie Klein, they started the music here in the stadium, so he might think he's taking an aerobics class. So he's down there doing some aerobics, stretching out his back.
If you joined us late in this ballgame, Franklin started it off with his first of 4 field goal attempts. This is the only one he made from 27 yards out. Miami had its only lead of the game. Jason Starosky tied it from 22 yards out in the 2nd quarter. And then Starosky again, a 34-yard field goal in the 3rd quarter. And that's where we are at 6-3. Franklin has missed 2 long shots and a 23-yarder. Quadreves should be back off of injured reserve anytime. And this may be Tony Franklin's last opportunity in a Miami uniform, and he's just hoping he gets one more crack. So does Marino. Perriman. The Dolphins with 11 players within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Dolphins have to be careful. They can't commit that many people near the line of scrimmage. You got Flutie who can potentially bootleg it. If you get somebody taking a step the wrong way, then he's in a lot of trouble. Or they could run that play action pass and slip a tight end or a wide receiver down the field, give him an opportunity for a big play.
Patriots let it run down to 2 minutes. They'll have a 2nd and 7 when we come back. Sports Center coming up immediately following this ball game. We have 2 minutes left in Miami. New England on top, 6-3, 2nd and 7. From their own 40, the Dolphins are out of timeouts. Perriman again. Maybe 3. And now they reset the clock at 45 seconds. And here's where that change from 30 to 45 really can become a factor. They can run a minute and a half off in the next 2 plays.
That's right. It takes it down to 30 seconds if they do get a chance at the ball. Figure the hang time of the punt, you're talking about 25 seconds to travel 80 yards. I talked about that first down being important. This one is the one now. But, here's the Pats' remaining games. They get Indianapolis in Indianapolis. Seattle, Tampa Bay, and Denver. 3 of those 4 teams are in the wild card race or division race.
3rd and 4. Flutie using up all the clock. Perriman again. Dives for the sticks, and he made it. Miami may request a measurement just to stop the clock, but it would only be momentarily. And it's not even close enough to do that, I believe.
All Flutie has to do now is take a snap from center and kneel down. And he will have done it again. 5-1 under Doug Flutie. 10 of 13 passing for 78 yards. No touchdowns. No big numbers, but he gets the one that counts. He keeps his team in contention for a playoff spot. As for Miami, they continue to try and look at what's going to be the right thing for them to win football games.
This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use without the express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited. So the Dolphins will go to 5-7. They're out of it. New England at 7-5 are 2 of 3 teams in solid wild card playoff contention, and Raymond Berry, with a revamped philosophy of this football team, run it, run it, run it, let Flutie throw it every once in a while,
Somehow.
has got his team to 7-5.
Somehow. Shot, put it, throw it, dink it.
Final: New England 6, Miami 3. And here's the updated wild card picture. Houston at 8-4 with the best wild card record so far. Of course, the divisional race not over, but Cincinnati in the lead. New England ties Cleveland with the second best record in that category. Then a slew of people at 6-6. One of those bottom 3 teams will win the AFC West, so that only 2 of them will be wild card
And the
contenders.
Raiders play Seattle twice coming up in the remaining 4 games,
Yeah.
so they're going to be banging at each other there.
The way it looks right now, if you have a 9-7 record, you might get into the playoffs. It's been that kind of year. It's a little heavy-handed comment there. And here is the key play. Tony Franklin in the 4th quarter with a chance to tie it up with a 23-yard chip shot. Snap hook left. One of 3 field goals that Tony Franklin missed tonight. Once again, our final score: New England 6, Miami 3. For Joe Theismann, this is